Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn. I'm Lauren Smith with the International Franchise Association, and we have a great 30 minutes lined up for you. Before we begin, I would like to remind everyone that we are recording today's webinar and will make it available later this evening on community.franchise.org. If you have any questions for today's speakers, please add them to the chat box and they will be addressed toward the end. Today's topic is Top 5 Tips to Drive Traffic and Leads Through Local Marketing, and it is brought to us by Milestone. Here to provide today's discussion is Matt LaQuesta, Director of SEO at Milestone, and Brett Dugan, Senior Manager of Local SEO Solution at Milestone. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you to Milestone for sponsoring today's Lunch and Learn. I'll go ahead and turn things over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lauren. And thanks everybody for joining today. As Lauren mentioned, the topic for today is going to be covering top 5 tips to drive traffic and leads through local marketing, and specifically looking at the kind of local SEO tactics that you can do to really help drive additional engagement to your local businesses, and then looking at driving, additional leads to your actual website. So with that, a little bit of background on Milestone. We are a leading provider of digital marketing software and services. Specifically on the software side, we have one of the first SEO first CMS systems, also specializing in schemas and FAQs, have a robust local listings platform targeting reviews, insights, and analytics, as well as a variety of digital marketing services from design, website, content, SEO, paid, and analytics. Today, as we mentioned, we'll be speaking with both myself, Brett Dugan, and with Matt LaQuesta, our Director of SEO here at Milestone. I am the Senior Manager of Local SEO Solution at Milestone, and I've been working in the local SEO space for around 10 years, primarily working with multi-unit and franchise businesses to really help bolster their overall local SEO solutions. To kick things off, as we're kind of starting to talk about local, I really wanted to talk about the local search evolution and, where did we come from, where we are now, and what are some of the priorities to focus on, when we're talking about local and local optimizations. And so taking a look at this, if we start down here at the bottom, we see this local listings icon. And when we think about local, historically, local really came about when we're thinking about kind of, yellow page listings and local business directories. And the standard information was really that core name, address, phone number that really helped a local user find information about a local business. But over the last 10, 15 years, we've seen a large evolution within the search engines and the actual content that they're allowing us to provide within our business listings, or how we can actually engage with other local businesses. Historically, we were focusing really on the data accuracy and consistency of our business information. But as time has gone on, we're now seeing so many different areas where a local user can connect and engage. For instance, on our business listings, search engines have rolled out review and reputation management, and the ability to leave a response about a business, and for a business to actually have an online scorecard that gives them a representation to their local users. We also now have the ability to ask local businesses questions and answers about their products and services and really drive that overall engagement. And moving beyond just the listings themselves, ultimately, our end goal is to drive customers either to our physical location or to drive them to our website to take a further action. And so no longer can we solely just look at the local listings themselves, but we really need to look at the full local ecosystem and all of these different customer touch points, which brings us to our location pages. How are we tying in our location pages with our local business listings, and what's the end goal when that customer gets to that or to our website? And as we're kind of thinking about this customer journey, what are some of the ways that those users are actually getting access to information and finding our local business and communicating with us and kind of going beyond just maybe picking up the phone to ask questions? With that, we're now seeing more and more folks every day picking up their mobile devices and using mechanisms such as voice search, or even choosing to engage with a local business over messaging rather than picking up the phone to connect. And so all of these different elements here, really it's, local is no longer just about local listings. Local is really about discovery and that overall customer experience. And so bringing all of these facets together is what we're calling Local 3.0. And it's really moving beyond just the listing itself and really focusing on all of the different local touch points and ensuring that you're connecting with the customer at each stage throughout their journey. Our philosophy here at Milestone and with any of the customers that we work with is really to, first and foremost, start with that data integrity piece, because data accuracy and consistency has really been the foundation for local, and it always will be, because we need to make sure that if somebody is looking to go to our business location, that address is correct. And whether they pick up an Apple device or a Google device, that they're getting that same information. But beyond data integrity, what can we really do to drive additional leads, drive additional traffic? And so this is where we kind of have our 5-step framework here. And so we need to be thinking beyond just data integrity. We really need to be thinking about the full customer experience. And the way to do this is to really go about, taking your data and then enhancing that content, providing as much robust information as you can to the search engines based on that information that they accept. And with that, how can you then further go beyond that to actually engage with your customers? And once we've got that additional engagement, we want to then take them and deliver an exceptional digital experience. So whether that be ensuring that they're getting to our business location or ensuring that when they land on our website, that they're getting the exact details and information that they need. And when we're talking about local, there's a number of different factors that actually impact how our businesses are visible within the search engines, whether this be our local listings or our local pages or just our website in general. When we're talking about local listing visibility, though, one main focus there is going to be the listings themselves. So how have you optimized your business listings? What kind of content have you added on there? Do you have all applicable business categories, or additional relevant information that you can provide to help you show up and capture some of those additional search queries? But beyond just the listing optimizations themselves, there are so many different factors that are at play that really affect how these business listings are showing up within the SERPs. As we all know, ratings and reviews are going to be a huge aspect of that. Whether you're doing a search for, best business near me, things like that, those are going to help qualify those additional searches. But beyond just, your listings and your reviews, we've also got the proximity to the search. How close are you to a business? Are you looking for something nearby? The citations and links and the consistency of your information. Also looking at your website and your location pages and how that content is tying back to the information on your local business listing. And then also the technical SEO elements that go into your website and have back-end information that really tell the search engines what your content is about. And so as we can see, local is no longer just about focusing specifically on your business listing, but it's about looking at all of these different factors, that customer journey, and understanding where we can have influence along the way. Taking a look at this customer journey funnel here, it's overall, everything really starts with awareness. And when we're driving awareness, the best way to do this is with those accurate and enhanced local listings. By providing robust content within your local listings, you're able to help qualify for additional searches. But beyond just having accurate information and enhanced content, we want to drive conversation with our audience. We want to drive engagement. We really want to build those long-lasting relationships. And so in this next section, we'll be talking about, how do you go about enhancing the content on your listings? What are those elements that you should be focusing on? And then in terms of engagement, what can you really do to drive that one-to-one customer communication? And what are ways to help kind of provide them with the most relevant information to make the best purchasing decision? As we go through these two awareness and engagement pieces, I'll be handing this off to Matt to go through some of the conversion and analytics elements, kind of moving beyond the local listings and talking about the actual on-page elements on your website. So as we've been talking about the 5 steps, step 1 is going to be that data integrity. And so how do you go about managing data integrity, and how do you go about doing that at scale? If you're a single franchise location, this can be, as simple as making sure that your Google listings are accurate. Make sure you check on Apple Maps and some of these prominent search engines to ensure that, your data is matching up. However, if you're part of a larger organization, you're at the corporate level, it's always great to have some sort of partner or data system to really help you manage and scale this content. And at Milestone, our philosophy is really, focus on building data integrity across the top core search engines. Where is that lion's share of traffic going to be coming to your business? And where are customers actually picking up a mobile device or going on a desktop? And where are they searching for your business? This can really vary by vertical. So for some instances, it may be relevant just to be in core directories like Google and Apple. example. However, maybe you're a home services business and we're seeing a really large upswing in folks making recommendations in channels like Nextdoor or Facebook for local businesses. So there's a ton of opportunity when it comes to kind of maximizing core search engines, and then also looking for some smaller niche opportunities for your business to be located. And really the end goal here is we want to make sure that we have data consistency across all customer touch points. So whether someone's picking up a mobile device, whether they're talking into an Alexa or a Google Voice, in-car navigation system, desktop search, really covering the bases of all these areas where a local user may get access to your business information. And so once we have that data accuracy and consistency in place, the step 2 is really going to be to go in and enhance your local content. And we're all familiar with a business listing, especially a Google listing, but there are so many different elements of this listing that oftentimes don't always get considered and maybe go unnoticed. And so when we're talking about enhancing this content, you want to first and foremost focus on that core information, right? We want to have a link to your website. We want to have your name, your address, and phone number. But beyond that, you also want to ensure that you've got tagging on your URLs, so that way we've got proper attribution, so we can understand when somebody clicks from my listing and goes onto my website, what information are they getting in return, and what are the actions that they're taking on that site. Beyond that core information, we have numerous data points that we can input with regards to your business amenities, whether that be your special hours, or do you have a drive-through window that operates separately from your standard operating hours? Do you have a menu or a link to order your online products? So all these different areas, making sure you've got rich media that really showcases your individual location. And all these elements are really going to help, not only help you qualify for additional search queries, but you're really optimizing for the customer. You're giving them more information to learn about your business and want to connect with you and engage. That engagement piece is really going to be a major factor here. And so when we're looking at these business listings, there's some opportunities that we'll talk about in step 3 here, which is going to be driving that additional engagement. This can be done through things like Google Posts, which is essentially adding social posts about your business to your profiles, answering questions and answers that people have asked about your business, as well as looking at additional opportunities like review monitoring, as well as even integrating things like business messaging. So as we start going into engagement, there's a number of opportunities that you can do to drive one-on-one customer connection with your local audience. The 4 of these are going to be Google's questions and answers, Google Posts, overall Google and reputation management, as well as business messaging. And I've got some live examples that I want to kind of walk you through, because there's some unique ways that Google is now integrating some of this content, whether it be from questions or from posts, and actually injecting this into the SERPs and helping you drive more visibility. So our overall goal, as we're kind of working on the listings themselves, right, we want to make sure we have that accuracy and consistency. But from here, we really want to build that connection with our customers. We want to share what we're doing with our products and services. We want to make sure that if they had a great experience, that we're continuing to let them know that we have additional products or services. If they had a bad experience, we want to connect that or correct that situation. And as users are asking questions, we want to make sure that we're addressing those and also internalizing those and getting a larger understanding of our business and what our customers are looking for. And so within the Google listings themselves, they've presented a number of opportunities. The first is going to be Google Posts. And this is something that has definitely been an underutilized tool for many folks. But really, overall, it's a great free advertising opportunity. By utilizing Google Posts, we can engage with our audience. We can share our products, our services, offers, events, business updates. And with that, we also get the opportunity that you see here to add a CTA, whether that be an order online or a learn more, etc. And so with Google Posts, this is a great opportunity to not only utilize this as a free advertising opportunity, but to also test, some of your promotional copy. So by adding attribution to these and adding tagging, we can then track the efficiency and the effectiveness of these Google Posts as someone's clicking through to your website and those actions that they're taking on your site itself. With review management, right? We're managing your business's online scorecard. hard. And oftentimes, folks maybe are only replying to negative reviews, but as customers are evaluating your local business, they're really looking to see what's the best case scenario and what's the worst case scenario. And, in those worst case scenarios, are the businesses responding? In the best case scenarios, do we see engagement there? And with that, especially as a franchise business owner, you're going to be knowing your customers, right? And so being able to build that long-lasting relationship with them is really going to be an effective overall strategy for continuing to have that lifetime customer value. And then the third item here is going to be Google questions and answers. And this is a feature that isn't necessarily new to Google, but it's something that often goes unnoticed or unrecognized. And so I wanted to pull up a couple live examples of how posts and Q&A are being utilized in the SERPs and kind of showcase ways that Google is now injecting that content and actually making your business more visible by bringing that information into your overall location strategy. So here's an example of a franchise business, Sprinkles. They're a cupcake business within the California area. And so as we scroll down on their Google Knowledge panel for their business listing, we'll come down and we'll actually notice that down below we've got what we call our Google Posts. And as we scroll over, we see that Sprinkles is very active. They're doing a couple posts a week. And so with this, typically a customer would have to scroll down to actually find this information. And so if we look at this example here, we've got a new Mai Tai flavored cupcake, which is a limited time offering. And so as we're kind of thinking about this in relation for your own business, maybe you're not a cupcake business, maybe you're a sign shop, for instance, or exterminating business. And so thinking about your products and services and what information would a local user be looking for is relevant to them. And so taking an example of this Mai Tai cupcake, I wanted to showcase what Google is now calling justifications. And so by going into a new search window and doing a search for a Mai Tai cupcake in downtown Los Angeles, you'll actually see that the Sprinkles business location is showing in the top 3 positions here. And they're actually now pulling in this justification directly from that Google post, and they're highlighting the content that's coming through from it. So this is a great way to not only share with the customers that are going to be landing directly on your branded business listing, but also a way that as users are searching for, relevant queries or relevant products, relevant services, that this information is not only going to be served to, a smaller subset of people, but it's going to help you qualify and drive additional traffic based on pulling this content directly into your SERPs here. So some overall great opportunities when it comes to integrating some of these additional features and driving that additional customer engagement. When it comes to the FAQs as well, these are something that within Google, you can ask and answer questions directly within a business listing. And these questions can really inform our larger overall FAQ strategy. When we're talking about FAQs in general, this is something that Google is now saturating the SERPs with FAQ style questions and answers. As you can see, whether it be a featured snippet or a people also ask or an enhanced FAQ, this FAQ style content is really what Google is preferring. And so we can take the information from our Google listings and we can really use this to inform our overall FAQ strategy. This is something that Matt will be talking about in just a moment here, which takes us to step 4, delivering an exceptional digital experience. And this will really be going beyond just our standard business listings and really making that connection between the local listings and the on-page elements of your website. Off to you, Matt.
Thanks, Brett. Yep. So Brett just went over a lot of different pieces of great ways to create engagement, especially with our local channels. But we also want to focus on, managing, creating a really good experience and driving engagement, not only through our local channels, but also on, throughout our website and our local landing pages, and ensuring that, the information is the same across the board, but it's also curated based off of, where users are actually looking. So, a big focus of, our software solutions are, helping to manage all of this at scale, because it's really difficult when if you've got 1 or 2 locations, it's okay. But as a franchisor managing hundreds or thousands of locations, it can be very challenging. So let's dive into some of the opportunities that we are looking at to drive a better experience. So these core elements, having a good page experience, or allowing the search engines to be able to access your site, and links and FAQ and content. These are all like the really big pieces, and people talk about them all the time. But I'd really like to spend some time digging into, like, what does that actually look like when we're looking at a landing page? So, for example, there are many different pieces that we are looking at when trying to create a digital experience that is going to resonate with users. And we want to make sure that we're providing the right information to the search engines so they understand what the page is about. But we also want to create that good experience for users and identify, like, what are users looking for? When they're looking for one of our locations, what are the core elements that they actually need that's really going to make them take the next step, whether it's call you, fill out a lead form, you actually drive to the business. And we've compiled a list that we work on to see, like, hey, what is actually going to help create a good user experience? So feel free to reference this checklist in the future, but I don't want to spend too much time going through it, because a lot of these elements are the things that we're used to seeing, our name, address information, our hours that we're open, some store information, and then some helpful links throughout the page. So let's take it a step further, because when you just look at a checklist, you're like, okay, we're checking off some boxes, but we don't really know how we're creating that good user experience. So let's take a look at the next slide, Brett. And once you've got those core elements on your page, I think that the best thing to do is, take a look at, like, what are users actually looking for? When they go to your site, yes, they're looking for some basic information, but what's driving that engagement? And what are the things that we need to provide that good user experience? So we like to go through and perform an identity and topic and entity gap analysis. So what this does is it looks at our page of what we currently have on there and tells us, where are we standing in relation to our competition, or where are we standing in terms of what people are searching for. And what we do is we highlight a lot of areas. So in this example, I think we're sticking with the bakery example here. We're looking at parts about cakes and chocolate, a gourmet gift, a shop or a store. But then we take it a little step further and look at what are the schema gaps. So schema is microdata that essentially users don't see, but it's a way to mark up content on your page so the search engines don't have to try to figure out what you're telling them. It's a really clear and succinct way to allow the search engines to see what this page is about and what does this business offer. So not only are we looking at the gaps for the content on the site to provide that good user experience, but we're helping to provide the schema on the back end for the search engines to understand. So you'll see here that there's some local business related schemas, and as we look at the page, it now breaks out a little bit more than just having a list of things that we need to check off. Now we have it broken out by hey, these are our topic and entity gaps, or hey, these portions have been added because they're filling the gaps for our schema, which we're looking at from the search engine standpoint. So part of building out this good user experience is not just for users, but also for the search engine, so then they can provide the better search results for users as well. And then, I think just to wrap it up, for this section, at least, we've got these, rich content paragraphs. So we've got, location information and all of this really unique information that's meant for our users that we're able to mark up. And the impact here is to increase the visibility, take up more real estate in the search engine result pages. Brett had a great example earlier of how much space you can take up by taking advantage of posts and also showing up with rich snippets for your lists and your FAQs and your videos. So part of driving that good user experience is providing an array of different pieces for users to be able to see from the search results and on your page.
Yeah, I think a key element to point out as well is as we're going through and identifying those content gaps, some of the examples I was showing from FAQs and how those rich results are able to pull into those position zero, SERP results. It's, identifying that content that may be missing on the page, but then also using elements like FAQs to then speak to that content, make sure that you're using schema so that those FAQs can be eligible for rich results. And then you can really begin capturing more and more search traffic, whether it be from your listings or driving traffic, from those rich results from your location pages.
Absolutely. And just one more piece on this one, Brett. I think for multi-location businesses and franchisors, the big challenge is managing all of this at scale. So luckily, there is a way to do it. We work with a lot of internal teams that have a lot of challenges, but there's a lot of software solutions, that we're able to provide to help manage this at scale. Because when you're looking at local FAQ for hundreds or thousands of locations, it can be a really daunting task, but it is possible. So, there are a lot of things on listings, but also on home pages and local landing pages that can be managed at scale. So don't be afraid of handling all of this, because it's very doable.
Yeah, so step 5 is really to kind of finish everything off with analytics, right? After we've gone through and we've optimized our business listings, we've enhanced our content, we've looked at our location pages and all those checklist items, identifying content gaps and schema gaps. We then want to understand, what was the overall impact? And so from the analytics and BI side, we want to make sure we're looking at those local insights from the business listings. We want to make sure we have proper attribution in place from our Google posts and our listings. And then we also want to be looking at those on-site metrics. Are we actually driving additional conversions and additional traffic? And so with that, that's where our 3-step process starts with, first and foremost, having analytics in place. But then, as Matt was going through, looking at some of those local gap analyses and looking at the actual data that's on our pages and that content that maybe is missing or, could be built up to be a bit more robust. Looking at that checklist and our overall local landing page and kind of the technical SEO elements behind it, and ensuring that we've really met all of those different items as well. Wanted to kind of just briefly touch on a case study here. So for one of our milestone clients, they are a multi-unit sign shop franchise system with 125 studio locations. And so we put in place kind of a 3-pronged strategy, which was first and foremost optimizing their local channels and their local listings. And then from there, identifying on their website opportunities for schema markup. And so we deployed a little over 2,000 nested schemas, including organization schema, web page, FAQ, service, as well as local business. And then we deployed 50 FAQs across their top ranking landing pages. And these were all implemented with schema to help them qualify for those rich results, as we were showing from some of those screenshots. For this sign shop business, their overall goal was to increase site traffic, phone calls, and organic leads. And from this results over here, you can see that overall, we're able to drive a 22% increase in website sessions, 63% increase in phone call visits. And I think the big win here was a 40% increase in overall organic website leads. Similarly, wanted to kind of showcase a visual of the impact that schemas and FAQ and local can all have together. This was for a bakery client with 50 locations. And we can see that pre-implementation, they were getting maybe around 5,000 or 6,000 clicks to their website per page. Or per day, or per week, excuse me. However, after the implementation of schema, we saw the average clicks per week rise up to around between 20 to 30,000. And so thinking about how you can drive additional relevancy and traffic for your business, kind of looking at this 3-pronged strategy of the implementation of schemas, FAQ, and local can have a significant impact on your business overall. Just to kind of wrap things up, we've got just a kind of overarching 5-step recap here that you folks can use to reference in the future, which will be provided in the deck recap. And then we have an up-and-coming Engage conference. Matt, if you want to say a few words, and then I know we've got a couple minutes for Q&A.
Yeah, so if you want to learn more, talk to other folks that are in the same boat as you, managing, whether it's a few locations or hundreds or even thousands of locations. We have a conference coming up next month, August 15th and 16th. Rand Fishkin, longtime SEO pro, is going to be there. Chip Conley, icon in the hospitality world, and Danielle Euthus, one of your fellow IFA members and future CFE, will be speaking there as well. So definitely take an opportunity to look into that. Otherwise, we've got a few minutes to answer any questions that anyone in the group may have. And if you can't think of anything now, feel free to reach out to us here at this email, and we'd be happy to jump on a call or just shoot some messages back and forth. But Brett and I, we've been doing this for a long time, and we love talking about this kind of stuff. So definitely feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Matt and Brett. This was excellent content. We really do appreciate it. Again, this webinar was recorded and along with the presentation deck will appear on our website early this evening. You'll be able to find that at community.franchise.org. Again, this webinar, thank you very much again to Brett, Matt, and the whole Milestone team. And again, thank you to everyone for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe and healthy. Bye.